Hey again, it's me, discriminating, as promised. Sorry for the lack of information in the last video. It was my first one. So here is my second video, which is a shopping list which we'll need for basic supplies for the armor and some that are specific only to the helmet. Okay? So first up, you have your almighty cardstock. You can find this anywhere, but I recommend Walmart. I got 150 sheets of this stuff for just $5, so that's really good right there. Next, you'll need fiberglass. This is usually, you can find it at a place such as Benny's or probably AutoZone. I found this for $11.97, which is a quart. You won't need much. I recommend buying the quart, because unless you only do this for weeks on end, it'll just get really old and sticky, and no one wants that because it looks really disgusting. Like, this one's almost empty. I got another one over there. But what you'll do is that you'll coat the finished product of your cardstock model with this to make it hard. Next, you should buy this is only about a third of what it is, but a sheet of fiberglass. Some people say buy the fiberglass mats. This is a fiberglass sheet, which is like cloth. It looks like a cloth, but it's much easier to work with. Don't get me wrong, fiberglass is horrible to work with, but it's easier to transport, and you can probably buy a 8x8 sheet for around $5 to $10 depending on what store. I recommend, once again, Benny's. Buy as many of these as you possibly can. I bought like 20 of them at the dollar store for like $5. You go through these like candy. A lot of people will say use lacquer thinner to clean them. Don't, because the bristles will fall off and they will get in your armor. Just buy a bunch of them. Yeah, it may be wasteful, but it'll make the armor look that much better. So you need to throw these out after you do one coat of resin. When you do a coat of resin, follow the specific instructions on the back that tell you how much of the hardener that it comes with to how many ounces of this. If you get it wrong, then it could either crack or it won't harden, so you have to get it perfect. I recommend using only 1 to 2 batches at a time because it dries in about an hour. The next thing that you'll need is just basic sandpaper. Find it at the dollar store or any other improvement store. I found it at the dollar store for about $1 for 12 sheets, but you could probably get it at Home Depot for probably $5 for a small package. Next thing that you'll need will be Velcro, if you want to, because sometimes you use glue, sometimes you don't. I want to glue the fiber in with Velcro because I couldn't find a gold visor, so I figure in case I do find one, I can always pop this one out and put a new one in. Got this at Benny's for about $2 for a 18-inch pack. Pretty good. Next thing you'll need, I recommend going to Home Depot. A lot of people will say they have all this kind of padding, but this is really good. It looks really fruity, but I found this at Home Depot for about $5 for this giant roll of Epic. Behold. And the good thing about it is that it's really thin. So depending on certain areas, like in the helmet especially, you may need more than you would in another area, such as the cheek versus the forehead. You can layer this and use a spray adhesive, which I have right here, which I found at Benny's for about $6. Big can. You just shake it up, spray in the area, wait like 5 seconds, and then apply whatever you want to stick. Hold it there for a couple seconds, and it won't go anywhere. I promise you. Now, for the helmet, you need specific things. These things are, I found this tubing, which is looks exactly like the tubing in the Mark 6 helmet. I found this at Home Depot for about $5 for this giant pack. You have to look for it though, because they have a lot of stuff that looks like this, but the difference with this is that it's already split down the middle. It's just corrugated tubing, and it's just really malleable. So I believe this was in the, I want to say, plumbing department. If you want to do high detail stuff such as dual tone for the armor, you're going to need painter's tape. Found it at Benny's for $3 for this big roll. It is expensive, but this stuff, I love it. It's a tape that you use to tape off an area so that the paint won't be messy. So say you spray it one coat black and you want white detail, do the white coat first, then tape it off with this stuff, what you don't want to turn black, then paint it black, and then when you peel this tape off, peel it off immediately after you're done painting, otherwise it will stick to it. So put one coat, once it's finished, peel it off, and then if you need another coat, just do it all over again, but it looks beautiful. If you saw the other helmet, that was my first helmet I ever did, and I have to say so myself, it looks pretty damn good. Now the next thing you'll need is basic primer. Found this at Benny's for $2.50. Magic brand is really, really good. Now you'll need the primer because, like everything, if you're going to paint something, you need to prime it because it'll come out that much better. Now the thing about the primer though is, you spray the helmet with it, it shows up the faults that you may have missed. So sand it back down. I know it'll be frustrating. It took me 5 coats of primer before I got it right, but it'll pay off in the long run. Buy whatever other color paints you want. Same price as the primer, but I got my classic black with white detail. That's why I use the painter's tape for. And it's going to look really epic. You may have to go through anywhere from, I'd say, 1 to 6 cans of each, depending on how many coats you do. The darker the color, the less coats you'll need. White took me about 6 coats. Black took me 3. Self-explanatory. Next thing you'll need, of course, when you're working with this stuff, goggles. Seriously. Especially when you're cutting stuff. You don't want to mess with this. You'll also need basic rubber gloves. Now, if you'll notice, when you fiberglass this stuff, it becomes really, really, really durable. And you may ask, hey, how do I trim the edges after I fiberglass it? Because the fiberglass goes everywhere. First off, for the helmet, cut the visor out and cut the places for the tubing out first. I didn't do that, and trust me, you don't want to, because it's really annoying. You just sit there with a tool, and it lasts forever, and it's just too much work. Just cut it out before you resin it. It'll be that much easier. What you'll need is a rotary tool. Now, my father had this one, and he has a lot of stuff, but you can get a Craftsman one, which is really good, at Home Depot for about $25. Pay an extra $5 and you get a tool cutting heads. I found these at Benny's, I believe, and they're diamond dusted tip discs. They cut really well. Make sure it's a high RPM rotary tool because you want it to cut really good. You're going to need that when you trim up the areas with fiberglass, and if you want to cut stuff out, because when I did the helmet, it fit perfectly, but my head couldn't get in there that well, so I had to cut around a little bit, make the hole bigger. So you'll need that. Also for the helmet, you'll need some form of visor, I assume, unless you want to look like a total poon. Now, I originally wanted to get the gold motorcycle visor because I wanted authenticity. I could not find it for the life of me, and I don't feel like spending $30 to buy a special visor, at least not now. So what happened was I went to, I believe it was Benny's. You may be able to find it at Home Depot. This is, I cut off the top part. This is the faceplate on a protective headgear. You may remember this from like CSI when they cut up the bodies, and you notice the faceplate he's wearing. You can buy it for about $15. It's really, really malleable, see-through entirely. A little dirty, my bad. But just cut that to shape. When you put the visor in the helmet, I recommend giving about a 1/4 inch more than where it meets the helmet so that it won't pop out or anything. Now, if you don't want a clear visor, which I don't, no one wants a clear visor, you're going to want some tint. Go to AutoZone. I got this small package for $12. Yeah, it's expensive, but this is 95% not see-through, and it's reflective just like the visor. It's black, but it will still look really good. This, what you do is that it's tint wrap. It's used for like limo windows and stuff. Put it on the visor after you clean it. Get a squeegee. The directions are on the back, but I'm just going to give you the gist. Get a squeegee, get water, and just squeegee it on, peel it off, and the visor's tinted. Now the final thing you'll need, if you'll notice my armor was battle scarred, I got this, it's $3 instead of, I think it was actually 4, at Benny's. Benny's is a wonderful store. You will fall in love with Benny's when you're making this project. Spray this on the brush as you see what I did over here, and then just gently apply it to the edges of the armor so it looks like it's been worn. You don't have to. Some people like that new factory look, but I like the worn look. It makes me look badass. Not saying that I am a badass, but come on. Spartan. Everyone wants to be a Spartan. Alright, so that's just the basic gist of what you'll need. If you have any questions, just comment me, alright? So, peace out, my friends.